labor, the country didn't exist. I'm talking about from Wall Street to physically building key landmarks like the White House and the U.S. Capitol. Beyond that, the wealth generated from slavery flowed into major banks, insurance companies, and financial systems. Everyone knows it wasn't Somalians or red dot Indians like 𝗪𝗲 here. But this scammer is trying to tell us her people built the U.S. all the way from India. She's been running around saying this for some years now, including stumping for reparations. She's asking for the U.S. to pay reparations, not to the descendants of Black American slaves. She's saying this country should pay reparations to illegal immigrants that broke into this country.
And we are going to have some form of reparation.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn.
Yeah, she said we need to pay them.
And then we also need offensive actions around prosecutions. We need real accountability, because at the end of the day, the people that have been inflicting this harm need to be prosecuted. They need to be brought before us, and they need to be held account for the trauma that they have created, and we are going to have some form of...
I agree with her, and I want her up on that list, because you are inflicting harm. Your votes, the things that you supported. Oh, we're about to get into this 2021 appropriations bill real quick after all this.
Of reparation for the kids and the families that have been traumatized through all of this. You talked about how there's no supports for people even once they're released. We need to make sure that we are funding that kind of work to continue to provide relief.
Yeah, this lentil bean head lady just said Democrats need to take over in the midterm election to pay reparations to illegal immigrants. Not Black Americans that's been voting for them 92%. They want all the blacks to line up and put them in office so they can give reparations to illegals. Look at them. They're not trying to do anything to help us. They're loyal bloc. Instead, they said, forget blacks. We're going to help these other people. Listen here, Patel. My people went through slavery, Jim Crow, and all kinds of stuff, and you never once supported reparations for us. But now you think y'all deserve reparations for illegally coming into the country and facing the legal consequences? You really think y'all about to skip all over us and ignore us? You gotta be out of your mind.
And we are going to have some form of reparation.
And listen, this 𝗪𝗲 Jayapal lady, this is not her first time saying this. She's been fighting for reparations for at least the last 7 years for illegals since she's been in office. She's supposed to be the first woman from India to serve in the House of Representatives. And not once did she ever support reparations for Black Americans. But the caucus she's a part of, the Asian caucus, they use the Black caucus every single time to vote for something for their people and other immigrants. They all team up with the Do Nothing Congressional Black Caucus because they have more votes. And that's how they get specific set-asides for their own people, by using the cosplaying Black Caucus. Because all of them in the caucus are pretending to be us, or they're pretending to care about us. All of them. The Black Americans and the Black immigrants. None of them care about Black people. But they're holding positions in the Black caucus, not to fight for Blacks, but to assist everybody else with their agenda. Look at her talking to another cosplayer, Joy Reid, telling her this all the way back in 2019. It's 2026 now.
Everything about this family separation policy, this zero humanity policy, was so wrong. And I really don't know, first of all, how we fix what we have done, but then also how we make reparations. I mean, these kids are traumatized, and the parents are traumatized. And we know from psychologists that that is real trauma, lasting trauma.
And you see how Joy Reid agreed with her. Funny how that same Joy Reid was against Black Americans getting reparations all them years and was calling Black people bots, making herself an enemy, but now she's cosplaying once again. Them people fired her from that network, then she came crawling on YouTube, now flipping the script, pretending to be grassroots just to co-opt the movement. Exactly how Jamal Bryant did it with that Target situation. It doesn't matter what the cause is. These people have the same behavior. Jamal Bryant is not on your side. Joy Reid is not on your side. Don Sweet Lemonade is not on your side. This one right here, 𝗪𝗲, she is not on your side. She'll sit up there next to the Somalian Omar lady and lie saying Somali people built this country and her people from India.
Somalia, India, immigrants have built this country.
She'll come lying saying they built this country and now they need reparations, but never once supported reparations for Black Americans. In fact, they're against it.
This Representative Jayapal, Democrat, is saying that if they win the mid-election, they need to give reparations to the children and families traumatized by ICE. Not the Black Americans that have been traumatized for over the last 450, 500 years in this country, or the ones that have been holding down the Democratic Party. No. When I tell you as Black Americans, you better stop taking your eyes off the prize, because you continue to make Democrats and everyone else out here think that we good. Black Americans is good, y'all. We need to focus on a whole new group of people here that have not even bought into this, paid into the system like we have. This is so disrespectful. Number one, who's going to pay for them reparations? Because it damn sure wouldn't be Black Americans paying reparations to people who came here hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years after.
Let me pause it right there. Because see, here's the thing. Everybody keeps going, who's going to pay for these reparations? We've technically already done that. Now, just walk with me for a second. In the 2021 appropriations bill that I've got here up on screen, let me make it a little bit bigger so y'all can see. Apparently, there's a section in here under security enforcement and investigations. Now, walk with me. Now, it says here, let me see where is the best to start from. It says, enforced by Department of Security at the discretion of the Secretary of Homeland Security, the provision of such support to federal, state, and local agencies in other law enforcement and emergency humanitarian efforts, the purchase and lease of up to 6,500 for replacement only police type vehicles. Okay. The purchase, maintenance of or operation of marine vessels, aircraft, and unnamed aerial systems. Why is that important? Because a lot of these things transported humans. And contracting with individuals for personal services abroad. $12 billion, of which $3 million shall be derived from the Harbor Maintenance Trust Fund for administrative expenses related to the collection of the harbor maintenance fee pursuant to this section, Internal Revenue Service Code, and notwithstanding section of Homeland Security Act, of which $500 million to be available September 30th, 2022. Why is this important? Why is this important? Because this is referring to unaccompanied minor aliens. So I just wanted to read the money part first. Now let me go back to the beginning. For necessary expenses of U.S. Customs and Border Protection for operations and support, including the transportation of unaccompanied minor aliens, the provision of air and marine support to federal, state, local, and international agencies in the enforcement or administration of laws enforced by the Department of Homeland Security. So this was for unaccompanied minor aliens, meaning children that were basically dumped here and have no parents. $12 billion. Yeah. And I remember people on the internet laughing at Black Americans saying, well, the immigrants have gotten your reparations. Yeah. Maybe they're not wrong. Let's get back to the video, and then we're going to go through some research I did in Grok.
And ain't been a slave nowhere up in here. Nowhere. We're the ones that was picking cotton for free. We're the ones that built this country for 400 years for free. We are the women that were being legally in this country for centuries. No one else. How damn disrespectful of you to even talk about reparations for anyone other than us. This is what I'm saying about Black folks. We got to stop. We are letting people disrespect our ancestors. For this lady to even open up her mouth talking about reparations for anybody else in this damn country, she must be crazy. Where's Roland Martin? Where's Joyanne Reed? Where's Tamika Mallory? Where all y'all at? Y'all was so mad at Nicki Minaj, but you ain't got nothing to say about this woman saying immigrants deserve reparations before us? That's why I say it's fake outrage. Everyone should be mad as hell about this right here. I wish y'all would. You would never get another damn vote from me ever again.
And not just for slavery alone. There's been several Black American communities, successful Black American communities that have been burned down, destroyed, and the land being distributed amongst white tea people that they enjoy until this day. Virginia, I want to say there's an island outside Virginia called White Man's Paradise. Is somewhere in that area where those white people ran black people out of the island and took their property and redistributed amongst other white people. Read that story. That is a terrifying story. So you have situations like that happened after slavery, where they literally took generational wealth from Black Americans and redistributed amongst white tea Americans. These lands, these property, these resources still exist until to this day, and white tea people benefited off of those properties that they took from Black Americans. So we're not just talking about slavery, right? And Jayapal, she's from India. I want to say she's a first generation Indian in America. How dare you talk about immigrants, undocumented immigrants who came into this country with their will, free will. They crossed over into this country, undocumented, free will. They deserve reparations before Black Americans. Why don't you address the caste system that's going on in India right now? Matter of fact, 3,000 years plus, the untouchables, how they discriminate against dark-skinned Indians, the untouchables, 𝗪𝗪𝗪. I think that the group is called 𝗪𝗪𝗪. Why don't you fight against the systems in your own countries? Right? You come over here, you get these positions, and then all of a sudden, you're the voice for Americans? Like, make that make sense.
Yeah, this lady lost her mind, but as you can see, she's been on this. Pramila became the first woman from India to serve in the U.S. House of Representatives. She's not even from here, just like a lot of them. But she's in Congress for 7 years, taking over our country, calling for reparations for people that are not even citizens. Not once advocating for Black Americans, but you have Black people going over there to her side, advocating for her people, trying to put their lives and telling other Black Americans to do it too, put their lives on the line for these people. So we have the Black Caucus here. They're also not advocating for Black Americans. They're advocating for her people too. And at the end of the day, like I've been saying the whole time, Black people got to do something with this Black Caucus. All of them need to be lined up and thrown out. They are useless. They are not doing anything for Black Americans, yet they're trying to represent Black Americans in the Black Caucus, in the U.S. Congress. You got them fools up here advocating for her people. You can't make this stuff up. But I digress. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started. Tell me what you think about this below. Gotta send a special thank you to our sister Starlet. I appreciate you, Starlet.
Yeah. Now, let's get into this. Okay. Let's see, make sure y'all can see it. Now, let me make it just a little bit bigger. That's a little bit better. Okay. So I said, can you outline the assistance that undocumented individuals have received since 2021 in the United States? Also, can you outline areas of the 2021 appropriation bill that gave assistance to aliens? So it said undocumented immigrants, also referred to as unauthorized or illegal aliens under U.S. immigration law, remain subject to strict federal restrictions, right, on public benefits under the 1996 Personal Responsibility or Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act, which is completely ignored. But let's continue. They are generally ineligible for most federal means tested public benefits, including SNAP, which we know they are getting, Medicaid, which we know they are getting, and TANF, which we know they are getting, SSI and ACA. They're getting all of this stuff, right? So since 2021, no major new federal eligibility expansions have been enacted for undocumented individuals. Really? Assistance has primarily come through limited statutory exceptions, indirect support, right? E.g. via U.S. citizen children, This is where birthright citizenship comes in, you guys, right here. In mixed status families, which means the parents are illegal, the children they're considering not, because that's where the just soil comes in. But these parents are not subject to our jurisdiction because they're not naturalized. It never says that just unnaturalized people. If it made a difference and it was just people born, the word naturalized would never appear. Why would you even make a distinction? Why would you have to? Why would you even need the 14th Amendment in the first place? To recognize human beings. Crazy. But here we are. So emergency services or NGO-funded humanitarian aid. NGO. Oh, yeah, those nonprofits, right? State-funded programs or other or certain jurisdictions, and operational response funding for border encounters, right? Below is a factual outline based on federal law programs. So federal direct assistance, right? There's been no major changes since 2020.